The moment I realized my family no longer saw me as a father happened at 3:47 p.m. on a quiet Tuesday. The call ended abruptly. No goodbye, no hesitation. Figure it out yourself. I'm busy. The line went dead. In my left hand, I was holding my phone. In my right, a lottery ticket worth $333 million. I stayed seated in the same living room where I had once rocked him to sleep, where I'd cleaned blood from scraped knees, where I'd spent nights helping with college forms because I wanted him to have choices I never had. The room felt smaller after that call, quieter, like something final had just happened. He didn't know it yet, but he had just failed the most important test of his life. I'm 67, widowed, retired after 4 decades working my body into the ground at an auto plant. Assembly line, supervisory shifts, double overtime. Whatever kept food on the table and futures open. I never complained. That was the deal. 3 weeks earlier, at almost midnight, I'd stopped at a convenience store on a side street to buy milk. I grabbed a lottery ticket on impulse. Didn't even check the numbers for days. When I finally did, my hands shook so badly I had to sit down. Every number matched. I didn't celebrate. I didn't tell anyone. I made one phone call to an attorney I'd known most of my adult life, a man who'd handled my wife's estate when cancer took her in 6 brutal months, someone who didn't flatter or lie. I need to see you today, I told him. Immediately. When I showed him the ticket, the color drained from his face. Not figuratively, actually. I told him I hadn't claimed it, that I wanted protections. Structures, distance. I didn't yet know if my family deserved access to any of it. You don't trust them? He asked carefully. I'm about to find out, I said. I'd been a father for over 40 years. My children were adults now, successful on paper. One ran a consulting business, the other sold real estate. After their mother died, something changed. The calls slowed, visits stopped, then the requests began. Money. Always framed as temporary, always urgent, always emotional. Business trouble, credit cards, mortgage payments, tuition. I paid. I liquidated retirement accounts, sold bonds, cashed policies I'd planned to leave behind. I never asked for repayment, never guilt-tripped. Fathers don't keep receipts. But 2 months before the lottery, I called on a birthday. Voicemail. I called again days later. A text came back hours later. Busy. Will call when I can. He never did. So I drove to his house, a large one, gated, 45 minutes away. I rang the bell. No answer. Through the window, I saw lights on, a television glowing, cars in the driveway. He was home. That's when I understood something I'd avoided for years. I wasn't a parent anymore. I was a resource. So I decided to test them. I called, not asking for much. Just said I needed help covering medication. Nothing dramatic, nothing expensive. My daughter sighed and changed the subject. My son hung up. Then I called my grandson, a child barely out of school. No money, no safety net. He drove hundreds of miles with the last of his savings because he thought his grandfather needed him. That's when I knew. And that's when I decided exactly what to do with every single dollar. I showed up without warning, rang the bell. His wife answered. Polite? Cold. The kind of politeness that's meant to keep distance, not welcome you in. Oh, hi, she said. No smile, no step aside. Is my son home? He's busy. Her eyes flicked past me. We're actually heading out. Can I come in for a minute? Maybe call next time. The door closed. I stood there on the porch of a house I'd helped pay for, feeling like a stranger who'd knocked on the wrong address. Not a father, not family. Just an inconvenience that had overstayed its usefulness. My daughter was no different, just quieter about it. She called when something broke, when a payment was late, when panic crept in. Plans with me were always postponed, birthdays forgotten, holidays rescheduled. Last Thanksgiving, I cooked for hours. Turkey, sides, desserts. Set a table for 3. At 11 that morning, my son texted that his in-laws had claimed him. At 2, my daughter said she was exhausted and couldn't make it. I ate alone. I froze the leftovers, threw most of them out weeks later. That was when the pattern became impossible to ignore. I wasn't their father anymore. I was their emergency fund. So when the lottery happened, I didn't feel joy. I felt clarity. A question formed that I couldn't ignore. If I truly needed them, if there was nothing left to give, would they help? Or would they disappear? I set everything up quietly, legally, carefully, a trust they couldn't touch, accounts they couldn't see, no paper trail leading back to me. By the time the money cleared, nearly $200 million sat safely out of reach. No one knew. Then I ran the test. I called my son first, told him I was in trouble, that my heart medication had run out, that I just needed $200 to get through the month. Silence. Then his voice changed, hardened. He told me I was irresponsible, that I needed to budget better, that I was on a fixed income and had to live within my means. I reminded him what the money was for. He suggested assistance programs, the emergency room, anything except helping. Then he listed his expenses: private school, boat payments, lifestyle obligations. The boat, the one I'd helped him qualify for. I said the words out loud. You have a boat, but you can't help your father buy medication. He told me it wasn't fair to guilt him. Then came the part that still echoes in my head. He said maybe it was time for me to consider assisted living. Somewhere they'd handle everything. Somewhere I wouldn't be a burden. Then he told me, calmly, that he was blocking my number for a while. Tough love, he said. You need to learn independence. The line went dead. I sat there, phone in my hand, understanding something I wish I'd never had to learn. My son had chosen silence over helping his father stay alive, and that told me everything I needed to know about who he really was. I stared at my phone. On the screen, my banking app showed $197,000 quietly sitting in accounts no one knew existed. Then I called my daughter. She answered quickly, already irritated. Dad, this isn't a great time. I need help, I said. With what? Her tone was sharp, impatient. I can't afford my heart medication this month. I need $200 until my check comes in. She laughed, not nervous laughter, not disbelief. Actual laughter. Are you serious right now? Yes, I said calmly. I'm asking for help. Well, I saw your Facebook yesterday, she snapped. You were at Starbucks. You posted a latte. If you can afford coffee, you can afford your pills. It was a small coffee, I said. $2. And $2 here, $5 there. That's exactly your problem. You don't track your spending. You make these little choices and then act shocked when you're broke. I felt something cold settle in my chest. I'm not asking for financial advice, I said. I'm asking my daughter for help staying alive. I can't, she replied flatly. I have a mortgage, a car payment, tuition. You think I have money lying around? This is always how it starts with you. It's never just once. $200, I repeated. You need to downsize, she said. Sell the house. Adjust your lifestyle. I have showings all afternoon. The call ended. 2 children, 2 rejections. I sat there, phone dark in my hand, realizing I had 1 call left. My grandson. He was 20, engineering student, worked part-time at a bookstore, barely scraping by. Last time we talked, he mentioned his car was on its last breath and he couldn't afford to replace it. I had no right to ask him for anything. My hand shook as I dialed. He answered immediately. Grandpa, hey, what's going on? Just hearing his voice tighten with concern nearly broke me. I need to ask you something, I said. And it's okay if the answer is no. What's wrong? Are you okay? I'm short on money for my heart medication. I need about $200. There was no pause. How much exactly? He asked. 200. But listen, if you don't have it, that's fine. I know. I've got 500 in my checking account, he interrupted. I can send it right now. Do you need more? I can pick up extra shifts. $500. Probably everything he had until his next paycheck. I can't take that, I said. You need it. Grandpa, he said gently, you've never asked me for anything. Ever. When my car died last year, you drove me for months. When I couldn't afford textbooks, you bought them without saying a word. If you're asking now, it's serious. I'm sending it. I heard the tapping. A notification chimed. I sent 500, he said. Is that enough? Do you want me to drive over? I can leave right now. My vision blurred. You don't need to come, I managed. You've already done more than enough. I love you, he said. You know that, right? We hung up. I sat alone in my living room and cried harder than I had since my wife's funeral. That afternoon, I made another call. To a dealership. I want to buy a car, I said. Cash. What kind? A new Civic, silver, fully loaded, every safety feature you have. That'll be around $28,000, sir. Fine, I said. I need it delivered to an address in Ann Arbor on Saturday morning. Then I called my grandson again. Can you come by later today? I asked. I need help with something. Sure, he said. I'll be there in an hour. When he arrived, his beat-up car rattled into the driveway like it might not make the trip home. At 11:30, we stood outside. Behind us, something large sat under a tarp. What's that? He asked. Come look. I pulled the tarp away. He stopped cold. And in that moment, everything changed. Grandpa, whose car is that? He asked, staring at the Civic like it might disappear. Yours. He turned to me, confused. Mine? The title's already transferred. Insurance is paid for the year. It's yours. He froze, eyes moving between me and the car, his mouth opening and closing like his brain couldn't keep up. I can't take this, he whispered. Yes, you can, I said gently. You gave me $500 when you barely had it, when you didn't hesitate, when my own children wouldn't even answer the phone. This is what that meant to me. Tears rolled down his face. This is too much, he said. It's not enough, I replied, but it's a start. He hugged me then. Not a polite hug, not a quick pat on the back, a real one, the kind that says thank you without words. I love you, he said into my shoulder. I love you too, I answered. That afternoon, my phone rang. Dad, we need to talk, Marcus said. Nana and I are coming over. They arrived exactly at 2. His black Audi, her white Mercedes, both dressed like they were headed to a golf club, not my house. They walked in without knocking and immediately saw Tyler outside, happily washing the Civic. Whose car is that? Nana demanded. Mine, Tyler called back cheerfully. Grandpa bought it for me. Marcus's face darkened instantly. Dad, kitchen, now. We sat at the same kitchen table where I'd fed them for decades, where I'd helped with homework, where I'd listened to their problems and tried to raise them right. Where did you get money for a car? Marcus asked, voice tight and controlled. I had savings. Nana leaned forward. Last week you were asking us for medication money. Now you're buying cars. What's really going on? Was I asking? I said calmly. Or was I asking my children for help? Don't play dumb, Marcus snapped. How much was it? 25 grand? 30? Where did the money come from? I glanced at his Rolex, at Nana's designer bag sitting on my table. I chose not to buy my medication, I said. I decided my grandson mattered more. Nana's face drained of color. You what? You heard me. That's insane, she gasped. You can't just stop your heart meds. Oh, I said quietly. Now you're worried about my health? Dad, this isn't funny, Marcus said. If you're having some kind of episode, we need to talk about getting you help. Episode, I repeated. That's an interesting word. This doesn't make sense, he said. Either you lied about being broke or you're not thinking clearly. I stood up, went into the living room, and returned with a folder. I slid it across the table. Let's talk about money. Marcus opened it. March 2022, I said. You asked for $20,000 to save your business. I pulled it from retirement. You promised to pay it back. You didn't. His face went pale. July 2022. $40,000 for credit card debt. I sold bonds. You said thank you once. I turned to Nena. Your mortgage, 3 months behind. $18,000. You cried? Told me I saved you. She stared at the table. Transmission repair, $4,000. Tuition, $8,000. Property taxes, $6,500. I laid out the statements. Every transfer, every check. Do you know how much I've given you both in 3 years? They said nothing. $147,000, not loans, gifts, because you never paid a cent back. The room was silent. And when I asked for $200 so I could stay alive, I continued, you blocked me, Marcus. You laughed, Nena. Tyler stood in the doorway, pale. You've been taking money from Grandpa for years? He asked quietly. That's different, Nena said quickly. We're his children. And I'm his grandson, Tyler replied. He asked me for help. I gave him everything I had. What did you give him? A lecture, I said. About budgeting, about tough love, about putting me in assisted living. Marcus opened his mouth. Dad, if you'd known what? I cut in. That I actually needed help? You didn't think about me at all. I slid one more document across the table. What's this? Marcus asked. A test, I said. I looked at Tyler. Ask them. Tyler swallowed, then looked at his father and aunt. If Grandpa really couldn't afford his medication, he said slowly, what would you have done? La pausa lo dijo todo. Ese segundo de silencio incómodo. La mirada esquiva. La duda. Con eso me bastó. Eso pensaba, dije con calma. Fui hasta el cajón de la cocina, saqué un sobre y se lo tendí a Tyler. Ábrelo. Él sacó el papel, lo miró sin entender. Luego tomó su móvil. Sus ojos se agrandaron. El color se le fue del rostro. Las manos empezaron a temblarle. ¡Abuelo!, susurró. Esto es el boleto ganador de Mega Millions. El de hace 3 semanas. 333 millones. Marcus se lanzó hacia él por puro reflejo. Tyler reaccionó más rápido y lo apretó contra su pecho. Ya está cobrado, dije sereno. Todo está en fideicomisos y cuentas protegidas. Gregory Walsh es el ejecutor. Legal, intocable. Los miré a los dos. Si me hubieran ayudado, si hubieran mostrado un mínimo de humanidad, hoy estaríamos hablando de fondos familiares, de herencias blindadas, de tranquilidad para sus hijos y los hijos de sus hijos. El rostro de Nena se deshizo. Papá, por favor. Pero no lo hicieron, continué. Me bloquearon, se rieron. Me dijeron que me las arreglara solo. No sabíamos. Marcus ya estaba de pie desesperado. ¿Cómo íbamos a saber? Exactamente, respondí. Ese era el punto. Necesitaba ver quiénes eran cuando ayudarme les costaba algo. Cuando no había beneficio. Esto no es justo, lloró Nena. Nos engañaste. No, los puse a prueba y fallaron. Marcus me agarró del brazo. Papá, espera. Fue un error. Podemos arreglarlo. Danos otra oportunidad. Me solté. Les di oportunidades durante 3 años. Cada vez que pidieron dinero y lo recibieron sin preguntas. Cada cumpleaños olvidado. Cada cena cancelada. Cada vez que me trataron como una molestia. Todas esas fueron oportunidades. Saqué el teléfono y les mostré un correo. Esta mañana, Gregory Walsh compró ciertas deudas en mi nombre. Marcus parpadeó. El préstamo del barco, Marcus. Las tarjetas de crédito de Nena. Su segunda hipoteca. El coche. Ahora son míos. ¿Qué? Susurró él. Soy su acreedor. Interés del 24%. Pago total en 30 días. ¡30 días! Gritó Nena. No tenemos ese dinero. Lo sé. ¿Qué quieres de nosotros? La voz de Marcus se quebró. Que entiendan lo que se siente necesitar ayuda y no tener a nadie. No puedes hacer esto. Nena estaba de pie temblando. Somos tus hijos. Y yo soy el padre al que descartaron cuando dejó de ser útil. Marcus tragó saliva. ¿Y si no pagamos? Entonces ejecutaré garantías. El barco, los coches, lo que indiquen los contratos. Tengo abogados excelentes. Pueden alargar esto hasta que no les quede nada. ¿Por qué? Sollozó Nena. ¿Por qué haces esto? Porque necesitan aprender lo que yo aprendí, dije. Que quienes deberían amarte no siempre son quienes lo hacen. Me giré hacia Tyler y apoyé la mano en su hombro. Tu universidad está cubierta. Grado, posgrado, alojamiento, libros, todo. Tyler lloraba abiertamente. Abuelo, tú ayudaste cuando hacerlo te costó todo lo que tenías. Eso vale más que cualquier fortuna. Marcus y Nena se quedaron inmóviles, viendo cómo lo que creían seguro se desvanecía, cómo el futuro que daban por hecho pasaba a manos de quien sí estuvo. Por favor, Marcus suplicó. Vamos a cambiar. ¿Cambiar qué? Pregunté. ¿Fingir cariño ahora que hay dinero? ¿Visitarme por obligación? Eso no es amor. No es justo, gritó Nena. Tienes razón, no es justo, pero es honesto. Y eso es más de lo que recibí de ustedes. Se fueron 20 minutos después, sin despedidas, sin disculpas reales. Tyler se quedó. Abuelo, ¿de verdad necesitabas esas pastillas? No, admití. Estoy sano. La historia era falsa. Pero los $500 que me diste, eso fue real. Cada centavo. ¿Y ahora qué vas a hacer? Vivir. Viajar. Hacer lo que tu abuela y yo nunca pudimos. Y asegurarme de que nunca tengas que empezar desde cero como yo. Van a volver, dijo él en voz baja. Cuando vean que hablas en serio. Lo sé. Por eso Greg ya tenía listas las órdenes de alejamiento. No es exagerado, es necesario. Tenían que entender que ya no había acceso libre, que yo no era un cajero automático. Soy su padre. Y a los padres se les respeta. Tyler volvió a abrazarme. Siento que sean así. No te disculpes por ellos, no tienes nada que ver. 2 días después, Marcus apareció en mi puerta. No le abrí. Papá, necesito hablar contigo. No. Por favor, 5 minutos. Me bloqueaste tú primero, ¿recuerdas? Amor duro, dijiste. Me equivoqué, perdón. Solo... hablemos. ¿De qué? ¿De que ahora necesitas dinero? ¿De que prometes cambiar si te doy otra oportunidad? Bajó la mirada. Lisa me dejó. Eso sí me sorprendió. ¿Cómo? Se enteró de las deudas, de que el barco fue embargado. Va a divorciarse y quiere la custodia de los niños. Debería haber sentido algo. Lástima. Culpa. Algo. No sentí nada. Lo siento. ¿Eso es todo? ¿Eso es lo único que tienes para decir? ¿Qué esperabas, Marcus? Que me ayudes. Ahora yo soy el que necesita. Y yo soy el padre al que trataste como una molestia cuando pidió $200 para medicinas. Cometí un error. No, tomaste una decisión. Ahora vive con ella. ¿Así que ya está? ¿Me cortas después de todo? Solté una risa seca. Después de todo, yo te di todo. Tiempo, dinero, dignidad. Y tú no me diste nada cuando de verdad te necesité. Me miró como si no me reconociera. Bien, dije. Porque el hombre que conocías era un felpudo. Este tiene respeto propio. Cerré la puerta. 3 meses después estaba en una playa de Hawái. Tyler tenía vacaciones de primavera. Lo llevé en primera clase. Hotel frente al mar. Snorkel. Restaurantes donde no hay precios en el menú. Esto es una locura, abuelo, dijo una noche. Estoy comiendo un filete de $100. Ve acostumbrándote. No digas eso. Cuando muera, todo es tuyo. El fideicomiso completo. No quiero pensar en eso. Pero necesito que lo sepas. Todo está blindado. No pueden impugnar nada. ¿Han intentado? Marcus contrató un abogado. Duró 2 semanas. Nena mandó correos. Están bloqueados. ¿Los extrañas? Lo pensé de verdad. Extraño a quienes creí que eran, no a quienes demostraron ser. Eso es triste. No, es liberador. Durante años me mentí, justificándolos. Ahora sé la verdad. No me querían a mí. Querían lo que podía darles. Te quiero, abuelo, dijo Tyler. Lo sé. Por eso estás aquí. 6 meses después, Nena apareció en mi casa. Estaba irreconocible. Delgado rostro cansado, ojeras profundas. Conducía un Honda viejo en lugar de su Mercedes. Papá, por favor. Necesito hablar. No. He perdido todo. La casa. El negocio. Doug me dejó. Trabajo en Target. Repongo estanterías. Necesito ayuda. El diner de la esquina busca lavaplatos. El supermercado necesita turnos nocturnos. No puedes hablar en serio. Nunca he hablado más en serio. Trabajé 20 años así para criarte. Ahora te toca a ti. Soy tu hija. Y yo soy el padre al que te reíste cuando pidió ayuda médica. No sabía que tenías ese dinero. Exacto, no lo sabías. Y por eso mostraste quién eres. Lo siento. De verdad. Creo que sientes haber fallado la prueba. No creo que sientas quién eres. ¿Qué puedo hacer? Nada. No se puede deshacer una prueba. No se puede desbloquear una llamada. No se puede borrar una risa. Se derrumbó llorando en el porche. Cerré la puerta. 1 año después, Greg me llamó. Marcus se declaró en bancarrota. Capítulo 7. Bien. Nena perdió la custodia. Visitas supervisadas. Eso es asunto de los tribunales. ¿No sientes culpa? Siento tristeza por el tipo de personas en que se convirtieron. No culpa. Les di todas las oportunidades. Tyler va muy bien. Lista del decano. Prácticas de verano. Buen chico. Hice lo correcto por todos. Solo uno supo valorarlo.